What do you do when the core of your business relies on face-to-face interaction? Curtis Christofferson is the owner of Innovative Fitness. North America's largest network of personal training studios had to implement a monumental shift in his business model to stay competitive. With over 25 years of experience and over 250 full-time coaches to award-winning businesses and significant charitable work, and from record-setting adventures to leading a global community around fitness, Curtis embodies what it means to be a dominant leader in the health and fitness industry. Curtis, thank you so much for being here today. And you're muted. There you go.
For me.
Hey, there you go. We're good to go.
Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. And I know it's been a long day, but I hope that the next 30 minutes is going to be inspiring, educational, and hopefully of a value to every single one of you that is following along. So I wanted to start off and express, obviously, my gratitude for Hawke Media for inviting me to speak today. I also wanted to set some intentions. I think it's really important that we set some intentions. And really, my goal for all of you listening along on the value that you might take from it. So I wrote down some things, pardon if I look down. There's three intentions that I look at. So number one, hope. I hope that my experience and the story I share is going to provide hope at a time of fear and uncertainty. I know that a lot of people retract back and probably get paralyzed. So I hope that it will provide hope. I hope it will provide renewed energy so that, possibly the story that I share can, renew your energy at a point where you might be depressed, stuck, or possibly have a lack of focus or energy in itself. And then the last one is opening the mind to possibilities. It's a very difficult time. No one knows how long this is going to last, and no one, could have predicted this, whether it's 2 months or 6 months ago. So at a time where people get paralyzed and possibly stuck, I hope that the story that I share with you today will provide you with an open mind of possibility. That being said, jumping in here, as Eric introduced me, my name's Curtis Christofferson, and I'm the owner of Innovative Fitness. So we're a premium personal training company. We have 12 locations that span across Canada. And in the health and fitness space, when we talk about brick and mortar locations, that's quite large in the boutique personal training. In fact, it's the largest in North America and one of the largest in the world. We're extremely hands-on, obviously a personal service, and our trainers are booked by appointment. So there's no drop-in gym, there's no group classes, and there's no membership. So at a time when, physical contact is not encouraged and social isolation or distancing is actually recommended, it's very difficult to do our jobs. And at the beginning of March, we kind of got a sense of things were going to shift and change in our business. We didn't know how quick, but we obviously had to have a plan. So I'm going to go through some of the thought processes that we went through and how we've overcome some of the immediate challenges. By no means do we have the answer yet. We're all, right in the thick of things. There's a lot of things we can't predict going forward, but, I want to take you into our process and what we did in hopes to, once again, accomplish some of the intentions I set at the beginning. So on the beginning of March, we got wind, obviously, in China, Italy, Spain. There was countries around the world that were experiencing, obviously, what COVID-19 was how it was impacting their communities and their countries. And so at the beginning of March, myself and my executive team, we have 8 people in the executive, decided to sit down and kind of plan. And we anticipated that this may or may not be impactful. And we anticipated that this might be a 2-week or, it could be here in 2 weeks or it could be here in 5 months. So we got to work and, to a point where on Wednesday, March 11th, we actually reached out to all of our landlords. So all 12 landlords. We also reached out to our banks and sent them a formal letter and asking them for a level of relief for the upcoming times that we were going to experience. And on Wednesday, March 11th, if you recall, that was right before the NBA announced their delay in their league. And it was before the hysteria had really driven through the roof. And so our response overall on Wednesday, March 11th wasn't really favorable. A lot of the landlords of the bank and the banks, kind of questioned our intentions, questioned, that we were ahead of the game, but it wasn't going to be really that bad. And then Wednesday night is when Trump grounded the planes to Europe. Wednesday night was when the NBA announced the positive cases, and Thursday morning is when the NBA, NHL, and Disneyland all announced their closures. So, that was, we're not psychics, we can't predict the future, but at the end of the day, we were paying attention to trends and what was happening, and that quickly escalated on the Thursday and the Friday. So at that point, we got into a room with our executive team, and we thought, if there's anybody that could last and stay open the longest in the fitness space would be us. We have a controlled environment, boutique studios. We work one-on-one with every single client. And at the end of the day, we anticipated that, that we would be able to control the environment from a health perspective and a safety perspective and a cleanliness perspective. And we wanted to be that company that waved that flag, that we control our spaces, we control everything about that space, and we will stand through the initial stages of COVID-19 and while staying open. And then on Sunday, March 15th, I got a phone call from one of our managers in one of our locations, and he had mentioned that 4 out of 12 people in his geographical community had tested positive for COVID-19. They went on a trip to Austria and a ski trip, and 4 of them had already been tested positive. And I thought to myself, and we thought to ourselves, that this is too close to home. Although nothing happened in our locations, we wanted to, number one, lean into our values. And if one of our values is we build strong communities, we wanted to make sure that we looked at the health of our teammates, our clients, and our communities first. And number two, we thought, from a PR and a press perspective, the last thing we'd want is obviously, COVID-19 to be spread within one of our facilities. So on March 15th, what we thought we were going to have 1 or 2 more weeks, we made the immediate decision to close our doors, which was ahead of obviously any kind of forced closures. We're based out of Vancouver, Canada, and the service-based businesses, the restaurants, the bars, they were still open, and we made the decision to close our doors. Well, soon enough thereafter, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, closures started happening, and then there were some forced closures as well. And what we did is, we didn't know what to do. So our immediate response on Sunday was, there was 3 buckets that we looked at. Crisis management, which we're all going through. I think we can all say that we're all facing a level of crisis, whether it's protecting, our health, our safety, our needs as families, our employees' health, and our extended families. So crisis management, we were all going through. As a business owner, we were looking at the second bucket, which is risk mitigation. So how can we mitigate our risks in business? So is it, can we reduce our rent? Can we get relief from the banks? What are things that we can do to really cover our fixed costs or at least reduce them? And the third is optional. We looked at it kind of going, if we manage the crisis well as a business and as individuals, and we mitigate our risks as a business, do we want to shut the doors, turn off the lights, and then ride this out, and then 3 months later arise when it's blowing through, and know that we would go into some financial debt doing that? And we decided not to. So we decided that, for 25 years we've been running this business. We've built up strong communities, both regionally and as a global brand. And we said, we've worked way too hard to do that. This is our opportunity to lean in and reinvent who we are. So we decided to adapt. And that was a choice. We still have the choice to close our doors. But in the next 5 days, what we did really changed the landscape of our future company, revenue streams, as well as who we are as a business. So the first immediate thing is we had to take care of our employees. We paid for their employment for the entire week. So we got on the phones on Sunday. We had a company-wide Zoom call and just let them know that this was our decision. It was out of the safety and health of our employees, our clients, and our communities. And we were going to participate in flattening the curve. And after that, what we did is we let them know that they're going to get paid for the week. We want to pay them and make them feel comfortable so that they can go and take care of their stuff at home, whether it's with their mortgages, their families, shopping, items like that, and take care of their basic needs. And that also bought us time. So it bought us 5 days. We let them know that we'd report back to them on the Friday. And it allowed our executive and leadership team to literally go into war room style mentality of understanding and determining how we're going to reinvent our business. And I'm going to talk about that, like from a pivot standpoint. That word is probably overly used right now, but we looked at breaking down a strong pivot strategy, which would consider 6 things. So number 1, understanding your target audience. Who is your target audience? So who is the people that you're serving? Number 1. Number 2, the 4 P's of marketing. So number 2 is product. What is the product you're going to deliver, and does that have to change based on the target audience? Number 3 is the place. So, is the place going to change? Well, in our business, brick and mortar, it has to. So it could be the same product, but is it going to be distributed differently? So we had to look at distribution. Number 3 was price. So how are we going to price it at a time where people are offering free content? They're trying to, understand the complexities of behaviors right now. And then number 4 was promotion. And then obviously the last one out of the 6 was the speed at which we can execute. So those are the 6 things we looked at. Target audience, okay? Who's our target audience? Let's identify that, both our existing target audience and our future target audience. Number 2, which leads us into the 4 P's of marketing: product, place, price, promotion. And then the last one, how fast can we adopt this and adapt? And those 6 things allowed us to provide a framework of our discussions, while our value system that we have established, and I want to go over those. We have 7 values in our company, were our guiding principles on how we made decisions. So we use our pivot strategies, prioritization of those, and then we leaned into our core values, which I think, Cameron Harold might have talked about this. No better time to lean in your value system right now. That's what's going to, really resonate with people and showcase who you are as a company. So our value system, short and sweet: we challenge the status quo. We create unparalleled experiences. We seek out growth opportunities. We achieve more together. We find a way, no excuse. We build strong communities, and we deliver lasting results. So when you looked at those values, we leaned into those and said, who do we want to be? How do we want to show up right now? And who do we want to be known for in the future? And we look at it going, we're going to challenge status quo. We're not going to shut off the lights. We're going to find a way, no excuse. So we are going to find a way to adapt our business model in a very short period of time, to provide hope, to provide security, to provide long-term opportunity for both, our teammates and our business. And we're going to build strong communities as we do it. So we looked at everything, and we looked at our once again, the 4 P's of marketing, and looked at our primary product. So our primary product is delivering personal training sessions in person. And we had to realize that if that's 95% of our revenue currently, we're going to lose 95% of our revenue. And we actually essentially did the minute that we closed our doors. So it wasn't a slow death. It was literally, you're at the top of the cliff the minute we decided to close our doors. So quickly we had to realize, how do we pivot our strategy to deliver and distribute our exact same services within 5 days? So what we did is we built a training curriculum. We built curriculum so we can teach our trainers to deliver a digital product, not an in-person product. So we got to work on that. We developed a working group so that we could then teach that curriculum. So what is that schedule going to look like? How are we going to teach them, in terms of the delivery of that digital content? And what do we need to consider on that distribution? So it wasn't just about teaching the people, but what about their spaces? So from a tech standpoint, audio, video, and other areas on how to deliver that effectively. And so we got to work. And in the meantime, what we did is we wanted to keep our community intact. So we use Facebook. It's a great networking platform if you haven't heard of it. And we developed a private Facebook community so that we can connect everybody in a private Facebook group to keep them motivated, supported around health and wellness during this time. And we called it Beat the Bug Fitness Community. So that took care of our community. And then what we had to do is launch our services. So at the same time, how are we going to distribute it? So what people don't realize is that Zoom is an option, GoToMeeting is an option, and a lot of these platforms are options, but the delivery of a scaling option around video content, it's really difficult to manage from a billing standpoint and a scheduling standpoint. So we quickly pivoted. We have developers that were working on a project for us. We took 5 of them. and got them to look at building a platform like Zoom so that we could essentially deliver the services like a Zoom platform home to home. So from a trainer's home to a client's home. And the differences are that, Zoom obviously focuses on the chest up. We need to see the whole body. We need to make sure that the views that the trainer saw and the views that the client saw were different, because the clients care about seeing a full view of the trainer when, conversely, the trainers need to see split screens if they're training more than one person at a time. So we developed that software. We went back to our team on Friday the 20th, and let them know that they had two options. Number one, that we were going to launch this new service. It was going to be a digital platform, and it was going to be the same product delivered in a different way. And that we had built a 25-hour curriculum that they could all subscribe and onboard to the following week. Or if they weren't ready or prepared to subscribe to that and deliver that service in that way, that we would unfortunately have to lay them off. And from that, we had 92% adoption. So 92% of people agreed to sign up and take their business to the digital and online space. And I would say that the other 8 to 10%, it was because of, possibly they don't feel comfortable, or they don't need to work, or they want to prioritize other things that were going on, whether it was their family or their, who they are as an individual. So, we were thankful. Out of 260 staff, we had about, 220 or 225 that agreed to it. And then that following week, we onboarded them into a curriculum. And so when we onboarded them into 25 hours of curriculum of a lot of practical work, them training us evaluating their spaces, their audio, their video. And that week went quickly as we finalized our platform. And then this was last Monday, we actually launched our product. And, it's called Innovative Fitness Direct. So Innovative Direct. And we now deliver a product that is home to home. So our trainers are working from home. They are obviously they have been advised to social distance themselves, or in some cases have been isolating, and they are delivering home to home services to our clients at a time that they probably need it the most, as much as, they might not feel like they want to be sold to, which we agree upon. We have to understand people's behaviors. Out of anything, they need their health and wellness the most. And it's going to provide structure and stability at a time that they probably want, framework around their routines. And we launched that this Monday. And I'm proud to say that we hit 33% or 36%, depending on the actual geographical location, about 30 to 35% of adoption the first week. So knowing that businesses are still being challenged, not many people pivoted and adapted as fast as we have. The clients that we serve have families at home where they have businesses that they got to deal with. The fact that we have a 35% adoption rate in the first week is a breath of fresh air. And as much as it's prepaid credits, that's 35% of essentially revenue that we've been able to pivot at a time where we actually cannot provide any services. And we did that in a matter of 3 weeks. So, I think at the end of the day, when we come back to our intentions, I look at it and our intentions, were to provide security, to prioritize the health of our teammates, our clients, and our communities, to adapt our business. We looked at what was ahead, and we wanted to say best case it was going to be 6 weeks, worst case it's going to be 6 months. And we wanted to make sure that if it was 6 months, that we weren't looking back regretting that we didn't move fast enough. Or didn't make the decisions to actually find solutions. So we did it quickly. We're proud of that. And the fact that we now actually can provide a brand new revenue stream for our business going forward is phenomenal. And people ask me, is it going to stay? 100% it will, because there are going to be change in behaviors. People aren't going to feel like they want to go face-to-face right away. We also know that, when the world starts traveling again, that, corporate travel, now we can connect with our clients when they're traveling on the road, and they can stay consistent with their trainers on the road. Or as an example, a different target audience that we've never been able to service is the stay-at-home moms. If they don't have nanny or support at home, then we can't deliver our service because they can't come into our locations. And so now, we have the ability that when the baby's napping, as an example, that we can deliver that service. So, we've created in a very quick time frame, we've created new revenue streams. We created a solution, and now we're not bound by brick and mortar. So we're not bound by 12 geographical locations. Just this last week, we had 4 people from New York, 3 people from Boston, 1 person from St. Louis, a handful of people from Colorado that all signed up for our services, virtually, that we never, ever worked with before. So anyways, we have 10 minutes to the hour. I promised that we were going to have a Q&A period. So if there are any questions, I love to hear them and chat about them. Please let me know. And if not, hopefully that was a ton of value.
That was awesome. I really appreciate it, Curtis. To start, how can people sign up so they can get their ass in shape while they're at home?
Yeah, so obviously innovativefitness.com, that is one way to do it. We're offering virtual training, nutritional coaching, and 30-day programs. And then join the Beat the Bug. Look at beatthebug.ca and join the private Facebook group. We grew exponentially really, really quick. And it's just a private Facebook group to show support, motivation, and really connect at a time that people need it. So
perfect. And everyone, a reminder, if you have questions for Curtis, please on Twitter, #QCon, QCON. Next question, and obviously we had a little bit of exchange on Facebook and everything too, but what was it like the first day that you got the call that you had to close everything? Because, I'm sure it was stressful, but like, what was going through your head? How did you muster up the courage to actually make a move like you did?
Yeah, I mean, that's, it's a great question. I mean, obviously, we had to evaluate. So when I got the call, it wasn't a call to close. Obviously, it was a call that it was just close to home. There was 4 people out of 12 people that had tested positively to COVID-19. And I just said, this is way too close to home. Like, if we pride ourselves on doing the right thing, if we pride ourselves as being leaders in the industry, then being leaders in the industry is also being leaders in the community and participating in flattening the curve. And so we just said, hey, we got to do what's right. And as much as it's scary, and I had to go back to my wife, and I have a young family, a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old at home. And I said, listen, we got to make this sacrifice. And I cut my salary. So I made an announcement to my executive team, cut my salary 100% by choice. I asked them if they'd be willing to cut their salary by 25%, for the sole purpose so we could keep people on and we could adapt and pivot. So, trust me, I mean, people don't, as much as I'm a business owner and, been around for 25 years, it's not like Curtis rolls deep and has multiple, family homes and massive wealth and driving, the high level car. I have financial responsibilities too. So it was fearful.
Yeah. And how are you feeling now? Like, now that you've gone to this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, I tell people I can go from a 2 to an 8 in moments and go back down to 4. The last 3 weeks have provided me the opportunity and space to breathe. Like, just this week, I feel like I can breathe, but we grinded out for 2 weeks, right? It was 4:30 a.m. till 10, 11, 12 at night. And I did that, 10 days in a row. So I had some breaking points. I told someone that as a grown man, I think, I've cried probably 7 times in my life after the age of 20. And I've done it 3 times in the last 3 weeks. But that's stress, that's lack of sleep, and that's okay, right? So.
No, and I think that's so important. And thank you for sharing, like, people to know that, like, it's okay for this to hit you hard. It's okay. Like, people are stressed out. This is kind of like what I alluded to in the very beginning. Like, we're all going through this. This is not, no one's having a good time right now. We're very, and if they are, they probably have no empathy for what's really going on too. So next question from the audience is, do you see this opening up your business to new markets and expanding into multilingual services? What does the future look like for you post-COVID?
Yeah, so it for sure opens up a huge revenue stream, and that's one of the learning lessons I had for anybody that owns their business on that's on the line here. 95% of our revenue was from one revenue stream, one stream of business and service. And so, we had to pivot quickly because we didn't have any revenue. So now the fact that we have brick and mortar and online, we're able to actually service people anywhere in the world. Now, they're obviously currently right now, there's communication challenges if it's in, different language, but right now we could service, as an example, all of North America, no problem. And it's all going to be virtual, home to home. So it's definitely opened up geographical regions, revenue streams, and adaptability for sure.
Awesome. So next one for Curtis, amazing. one, I wish schools embraced distance learning with the same passion and ferocity that he embraced pivoting to digital training. And two, did you use a fully in-house built platform, or did you piece together other platforms?
Yeah, it was fully built out. So we had a software company that was already developing our own scheduling and billing software, because what was in the marketplace, we didn't really, there wasn't a suitable fit. And so we've been working with them for the last 2 months, and they built in literally 8 days the exact same backend that Zoom uses has built our platform. So we can have up to 200 people. It can be one-on-one, two-on-one. So we're offering one-on-one training services, small groups. So that's 3-4 people with one trainer for an affordable option and a way to connect. And then we offer corporate classes as well. So now a lot of corporations are looking, hey, you know what? They're not used to remote office space and being disconnected. So they're looking at ways to connect their employees through classes like ours. So
that's great. And so you made the move a lot of people are afraid to do. Like, what would be your advice for companies that are a little scared right now and like want to, like, instead of like it sounds like you spent money building out a platform. You actually went forward with this versus pulling everything back. You found places to cut that you could afford to, but you didn't cut in everything.
Yeah.
What would be your advice for people looking at that right now that are in the similar boat, because you are one of the hyper affected markets?
Yeah, I mean, I think number one, obviously, everybody has to take care of themselves first. So you put on your own oxygen mask, which is a crisis management thing. Mitigate all your risk or as much as possible. Fixed costs, get relief from your banks and landlords, or whatever the situation might be. And then you have to determine if you want to adapt and what's the cost to adapt. We actually had a viable solution. We could have done it through Zoom meeting or GoTo. So it was totally viable. And yeah, I would just say, like, there is hope. Don't let this paralyze you. The strong will survive. Lean into your value system. Obviously, it's not everybody's capable of doing it, but lean into your network, lean into resources, find a way. If you go back to the 6 things, the pivot strategies I talked about: target audience, product, place, price, promotion, and speed. I would say that the last one I left there for a reason. Speed. It's speed over perfection. It does not have to be perfect right now. As long as you know your target audience and you know that they want the product, how do you filter the rest, right? How do you deliver it? Obviously, most delivery systems have changed because it's not in person anymore. It's not brick and mortar. It's got to be in the home. And then how do you position it from a price standpoint and a promotion standpoint? So,
yeah, speed versus perfection is a good testament to the conference we're sitting on right now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, to wrap up, I'd love, like, what's one piece of advice, I'd say mindset wise, that you can give to people, knowing you, what would be one last thing you'd want to end on for all the business owners listening to this right now?
Yeah, I think everybody's going to have their own, decisions and reactions to this. I think there's 2 different things. How we react to this and and the decisions we make are 2 different things. I think at the end of the day, for your mindset, ask you, how you want to be remembered on how you showed up during this. Whether it's how you supported your family, how you supported extended friends, the decisions you want to make. Like, if you ask yourself that, it's okay to retreat and read and learn and be educated or whatever that might be. But it's also okay to lean in and adapt and pivot. So how do you, who you are and how do you want to be remembered during this time? And that's all you need to worry about.
I'm going to ask you one last question that's super important. How have you kept your hair so in order during all this? When you get a haircut?
You know what? I literally got a haircut on literally 2 days before we actually went from a social distancing standpoint. So I got lucky there. And because this is one of the first, formal conferences, I thought I'd spend a little quality time on getting it done. So
you did a great job. Well, thank you so much again for joining us, man. Awesome story. Looking forward to catching up, man.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you. All right, guys.